Yes guys, what is up and welcome to the final episode of my MONOPOSTO 2023 track guide series, and we have arrived at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and we're going to be taking a look in great detail at how to nail a lap around Yas Marina. If you guys missed the previous episode at Formula One's newest circuit in Las Vegas, Nevada, then please be sure to go and check that out. There's a little bit of footage on the screen now. If you want to know how to master the newest track on the calendar, then I'm sure you will find that video helpful. As I said, this is the last video in this series now, which means hopefully career mode will be resuming, and I also have something else to tell you guys, so be sure to like, share and subscribe if you don't want to miss that. And if you found this series helpful, then also leave a comment and tell me what you found helpful and what you enjoyed. And without further ado, let's get straight into it, starting off in the pit lane as always. Now, setup in Abu Dhabi is very much balanced. I think whilst there are two very long straights, there are also a lot of corners, and I found certainly while practicing at this track that it's a lot tighter than it is in real life. The track obviously in 2021 was updated to be more open and flowing, and whilst it is the same layout, I feel like some of the corners have been made in this game, they don't feel quite as open. So starting the lap then, for example, you can't take this corner flat, so you want to quick brake at the 50-meter board, and then as you approach the final corner, and what I would advise you is actually use the pit exit to open up the corner even more, then come wide and use this blue runoff. However, crucially, I wouldn't use any ERS down the pit straight. Why is that? Because you're not going to make the first corner. As you can see, this is one example of an outtake of me using ERS, and while you try and turn for the first corner, you just can't make it. You just run straight wide. So save your ERS for the straight is what I would advise. Make sure you maximize the width of the track. It's braking at the 50-meter board. Turn in slightly early to make sure you maximize the apex, and then you can ride the curb on the right hand side there. And again, still do not use any ERS around this section here, because the car will just spin out. If you try and use ERS and keep your foot flat to the floor along here, the back end is just going to snap and the car is not going to make the corner. So again, don't use any ERS, pretty much for the first sector even. You don't want to be using any battery. However, at this point, when you come across here, use this blue runoff, then you can go up into ERS for a little bit, because the track is going to straighten out. However, make sure you've stopped using ERS, certainly by the 150-meter board, as we've now arrived at the hairpin with the grandstands. This is just 50-meter braking. You want to be very aggressive on the brakes and then hug the inside at the hairpin, and then once you've straightened the car up, get up into ERS immediately, and then it just bomb it all the way down to the chicane. Open up DRS and you can just completely drain the battery because you saved it through the first sector. So if you're using manual ERS, just disable it a little bit before you get to the start of the yellow advertising board on the left hand side, and then for the chicane it's 100-meter board braking if you're using ERS. To be honest, I find it was a little bit laggy when recording my lap, so I probably found that I was a little bit slow through the chicane, and I do apologise for that. Nevertheless, this is the kind of line you want to take. You want to bounce off that curb on the inside, and then you want to steer slightly early for the exit of the chicane. Use the curbs on both sides, and then again up into ERS, and you'll be opening up DRS along here, and just drain the battery again along this second back straight, as we're now coming towards the final sector with this nice long looping left hand corner. So again, 50-meter braking, although one thing I will say is be careful not to drift out too wide. It's very easy to either run wide there, or if you keep coming round here, you can actually get caught out on that gravel trap there, and that's just going to lose you time through your lap. So make sure that you are always steering to make sure that you avoid the gravel traps, because they caught me out a lot when I was practicing, and I'm sure that you would find that as well. So just make sure you really concentrate on how much you're steering the car, but also try not to oversteer too much, as we're now coming past the harbour. And now you can use a little bit of ERS if you've got any left here. However, I'd certainly disable it by this point, because this corner, whilst this is flat in real life, this is actually your braking point for this next right-hander, because if you try and take it flat, then you're not going to make the corner. You can see you need to brake really early for this corner, because it's a lot sharper than it is in real life. It's this entire section, and that's one thing where this track could be a little bit improved if I had to make a very slight criticism. So once you come over there, you move your car just over to the right hand side underneath the hotel section. Use the full extent of the track, all of the blue runoff, and again one more dab on the brake, And then by this point, you're straight back up into throttle. Use a tiny bit of ERS if you've got any left. You probably should be pretty much out of battery. And don't try and take this last corner flat, because you can't do it. This is the corner that I've noticed by far is the one that's most dissimilar to real life, because you have to brake. This is effectively still the 2020 and before layout. So just quick dab on the brakes at 50 meters and then using the full extent of the track. If you want to use the pit exit, again, pit entry rather, again, as you come through the final corner, that's fine. Although I wouldn't go as wide as the blue runoff, because you don't need to maximize the track that much as you're coming towards the end of the lap, and that completes the lap here in Abu Dhabi. And with that concludes the MONOPOSTO 2023 track guide series. All 24 tracks covered. There is a playlist on my channel if you want to see any of them, any track broken down, and we go through it slowly. So that's it. Please remember to like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed this series. Career mode will be back, and I'll see you guys very soon.